Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Heart Talk call. Today is March 5th in the year 2019. I am Sue Ellen Dickinson, and I'm going to be your host for the next hour or so. Great conversation ahead. I can feel it coming. Can you? Yeah, we'll get started in just a minute. But before we do, let me remind you that Heart Talk is so much more than an ordinary call. And that is because this is where you can speak your mind straight from your heart. And that is exactly what we're going to do today, just like we do every Tuesday morning, right? Yeah, you betcha. And Heart Talk is brought to you by The Essentials. That's right. The Essentials are helping you to feel better, one less symptom at a time. They have been formulated, designed, and created, by the way, by our very own Dr. Rudy Cartwright. In case you don't know who Dr. Cartwright is and you might be new to Heart Talk, well, Dr. Cartwright is a very well-renowned neurosurgeon. That's a brain surgeon. He is also an expert in multiple sclerosis. So he knows what goes on with us. And so what has he done about it? Well, he's put together a line of products. Amazing. And the Essentials, I call the lead product or the flagship product kind of a thing. That's just my label on it. But I love it because even though, thank God, I am symptom-free right now, they make me feel better. They give me energy. My vision is clear. My thoughts are clear. At least I think they're clear. You might have something to say about that. But anyway, the Essentials have been designed and formulated to help get rid of fatigue, to help stop that pain, tingling, and numbness, to help with vision problems and balance. Oh, that pesky old brain fog that I love to hate, right? They are made up of all-natural ingredients, and yes, you can take the Essentials along with every other one of Dr. Cartwright's products with your current medications. No problems there. So if you're looking at maybe wanting to get some of that energy back, clear up some of that brain fog, and just overall feel a little bit better maybe, and maybe then some. What have you got to lose by trying the Essentials? Except maybe a symptom or two, and to me, that's well worth it. Anyway, you're probably saying to yourself, well, okay, great, where do I get the Essentials? Great question. As soon as we're done, I'm going to go into my engineering mode here and put the replay together and send you an email. When you get that email with the replay link in it, scroll down about halfway, and you'll see in big old capital letters, Get Dr. Cartwright's Supplements. Click on that link. That will open a brand new page. You'll see all the ingredients, everything I've said, too, about the Essentials and then some, and really kind of get in there and read all about it. You click on the order button and get yourself a bottle. Try these Essentials. Like I said, what in the world do you have to lose? You've probably tried everything else under the sun, right? I know I did, and I know some of you did, too, until you discovered the Essentials. And it's like, where have I been? And I know me. I wish I had known about these, back in the day when I was really, really ill with MS. It might have changed things for the better a whole lot sooner. Who knows? I don't know. But and we never will know the answer to that. But I do know that now I know about them, and I'm telling you about them, and I'm encouraging you in every way that I can. So, once again, pick yourself up a bottle of the Essentials. Give them a try. Like I said, what have you got to lose except maybe a symptom or two? Because truly, they are helping folks to feel better, one less symptom at a time. So there you go. Look for that email. Don't forget. So anyway, let's move on. We have some pretty interesting ground to cover today, I think. And as always, I'm going to let you guys steer this wherever you want to go because this is sort of a broad subject I discovered. And why is that? Well, I'm going to let you help define that with me as we go along because we have talked at length over time here on our Heart Talk call about a garden variety of subjects that are dealing with directly having MS and what it's like to experience it firsthand, how others see us, their reactions to it all, and so forth, and so much more. I mean, it's really an endless supply of opinions, subject matter, and so on, and discussions that we can just go on forever and a day. And we're very good at that, aren't we? Yes. But in the course of our discussions, we have talked about all kinds of subjects. Here is a sampling, just a really short sampling of some of the program titles that we've talked about, okay? Okay, and here I am. I'm setting the stage for something else, so bear with me. But here are some of the subjects that we've dealt with. Struggling to find a purpose. What others don't see. Suffering in silence. Picking up the pieces. I'm still me. Oh, it's just an excuse. Guilt, expectations, and chronic illness. Busy being sick. Well, do you see a pattern here? Okay, we'll talk about that. But what does it all boil down to? Well, maybe, just maybe, this new lady to Heart Talk, Laura Kolaczkowski. Hope I pronounced your name right, Laura, sorry. But Laura offers us a fresh look and keen insight into what's really happening to us in the overall picture of our lives with MS. So here is Laura's article. I'm going to read it to you. For those of you who've already read it, it'll be sort of a freshening up for you. For those who haven't heard, I think you're going to find this very interesting. But here is Laura's article on this particular forbidden topic that she calls identity crisis. Hold that thought for a minute. Let me take a sip of my juice. All right. Laura's article, Identity Crisis. Let's begin. Here is Laura. How do we view ourselves? And what does that say to the outside world? Having a serious disease challenges our identity at every turn. For those of us with a chronic disease like multiple sclerosis with no known cure, the question of shifting identity can be challenging. From the beginning days with my MS diagnosis, I was fairly confident in saying to others, I have MS, aligning myself with the profile of people who have relapsing, remitting multiple sclerosis. There were treatment options, and from all I read, I could expect to live a fairly normal life outside of having MS. Having MS didn't mean changing my life, and I could continue on the same path.
Yep.
MS wasn't going to change who I was, or at least that's what I thought. Then reality set in, because living with MS began to peel away at my identity in small ways, in little ways. I walked slower and eventually began using a cane for balance and safety. The everyday activities I once did became more difficult. No longer could I be in the summer sun tending to a garden or pulling weeds. Vacation times and locations became more focused on weather conditions and what the physical demands might be rather than where I really wanted to travel to next. Being accountable at my job 5 days a week became the next challenge with MS. Eventually, I went on to disability and was medically retired from an institution I'd worked for over 26 years. There were no grand retirement ceremonies or even the chance for meaningful goodbyes and closures to that professional identity. There is a major identity shift when you go from working full-time to being medically retired and on disability. There is a major identity shift. This change is not only internal, but also linked to how others view you. And both come with lots and lots of emotional shifts. Each time I faced a shift in identity, I've been able to respond by creating alternatives. For example, I hired help with my garden, and I can enjoy the outdoors as an observer now. We found ways to travel in the off-season to otherwise hot summer spots, and I select activities that suit my physical abilities. A sense of sadness descended on me. Well, I was thinking of things I'd love to do, but that was replaced with a new sense of appreciation for what I can still do. Maybe this adaptation to a shifting identity is my way of coping with changes that I have little or no control over. I've reshaped my professional identification with new activities focused on MS advocacy and research. I doubt that I would still be a reliable employee 5 days a week to do a full-time job, but I keep mentally active with the challenges of advancing MS research. It's a different kind of work and definitely a different identity that gives me satisfaction. Now, I realize people go through identity shifts through their lives as they age, as they face illness such as cancer, or adapt to living with MS. And my identity through 6+ decades was going to change. And that's just a natural course of life. But having multiple sclerosis just adds one more factor that contributes to my ever-changing identity. And I thank you, Laura, for that insight. Let's talk about it. What do you guys think? Did that hit you like it hit me? I hadn't really looked at it from that perspective, quite that perspective yet, but she makes a lot of sense, I think. What do you think?
I have to laugh at the part about busy being sick.
Oh, that title? Yeah. We did that not too long ago, remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh then, and now it's making me laugh again.
Yeah, that was a very clever title, but it's true. It's a job. And that is what that person was talking about. I've forgotten the author of that, but yeah. Very, very interesting. Have any of you gone through any identity crisis? Can you relate to Laura on any scale, low scale, major scale? Could you identify with what she's talking about?
I can identify. That's what led me to counseling.
Okay. And in what way? Can you give us some insight?
Hold on one second, my puppy.
Is that your puppy?
Yes.
Puppy.
And he's busy this morning. He's hollering and screaming, so I had you on mute because he is loud. But basically, when I first got diagnosed, the same way as she did, I have MS. I'll shoot it to the rooftops. I'll scream it loud. I don't care. At least I don't have cancer or anything that I haven't been told I had AIDS, so I'm good, type thing. Mm-hmm. But I had a cousin that would just always come to me and be like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." She said, "You're not okay." I said, "Yes, I am." And she's like that cousin that I was looking at as I was growing up as my role model. It was almost like she knew how to do this, she knew how to do that. She had a hard life. She lost her father, things like that, and she still, was able to manage to make it throughout everything she had been through, and it wasn't easy. So I looked at her as my role model. When times got tough, what did she do? She didn't just bow down and say, "Forget it, I give up." She kept on, and she just continued progressing, and and she ended up having children on down the road, at an early age and so forth or another. And I was like, oh my God, she was able to raise a child being young and things like that. So I looked at her as a great role model for someone that had to go through all of this and still be able to have a smile on her face and make it. But she had a lot of hard times. So I said, if anybody I want to be like, it's like her. I'm now being faced with a hard time, so I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to change who I am. This is not going to change my identity. MS has me. MS, I have MS, it doesn't have me type things. I'm going to find a cure. I always did not identify myself with MS being, something that was going to watch out, move, that was taking over me and controlling what I did. You're not going to change what I'm used to doing. And then as I went through it, the things that were happening to me, and I'm like, oh, my God. And then everybody's like, it may not necessarily be MS. Maybe you need a second opinion and this and that. And I'm like, if the doctor said it, I'm looking at what the doctors are seeing. I don't quite understand it because I don't know how to read an MRI, but I see all this stuff that shouldn't be there. It doesn't look normal. So the doctors have to be right, and it was point blank. And it was evident when they did mine without the dye, my lesions appeared. I had 11 lesions on my brain. And they sent me out for the lumbar puncture and all that, where they took fluid off my spinal cord. I had to go through all this blood draws and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I had 40-something tubes of blood drawn from me in one day because my blood clotted. It's just all kinds of stuff I was going through. I mean, the whole day I was at that hospital getting tested, having these tests done, and I was just drained. And I had physical therapy because I barely could walk, barely could talk. It was just everything hit me. And I was like, but this is not who I am. I didn't ask to be like this. What did I do wrong in life, God? Because you put this on me, but it's not going to stop me. I'm going to still be who I am. I'm not going to change anything I do. I'm not going to change the way I eat, the way I think, the way I talk, and I'm not going to change the way I walk. So I need to get my legs back working, things like that. I was always looking for, I guess, something to simplify. Chiretta, you're not sick. It's just some phase. Maybe they misdiagnosed you or something in the back of my mind, but reality was setting in as things were changing. And when I had to have the handicap sticker, I'm like, okay, so I'm actually handicapped. So the things that I like to do, I guess I can't enjoy anymore because I'm handicapped. So that's being taken away from me. Oh, my doctor said I can't go to work. I got to be on food stamps and welfare. I don't want welfare. What are they trying to do to me? I've got my own company. I go to school. They're changing my identity. So I get what she's saying because I did have an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was sometimes. Then all of a sudden, all these people started coming around and, like, oh, we can do this for you. We can do that. Like I'm helpless. And I'm like, no, I got it. I am able to do it myself, And then I was like, I might not be able to do it as fast, but I will get it done, And everybody started just trying to give me handouts, and that's the one thing I didn't like because everything I did in life, I didn't like handouts. I like to work hard for what I do, and if I couldn't financially cover it, I like to do something other than, like, hey, if I have to, do something for you, you maybe like advertise for you, something to that nature. I would always figure out a way to pay you for what you were doing. And so I can kind of identify with what she's saying. My life was stolen from me, and I would say that my life was interrupted. Now I can't finish school because I have this disease that's not letting me, be able to function and think the way I need to think. It's taking my thinking pattern away from me. It's taking my memory away from me. It's stealing everything that I've grown to either enjoy or that I learned. But on the other side, it was like, you need counseling because this is something very just like hard impact that hits you. And then I go to the doctor and they're like, we need to do a test on you, the MRI. That's why I told all you guys, I've had over 16 MRIs. And when I go to the seminars or something, they were like, well, we do MRIs maybe once a year. And I was like, once a year? I had to have mine like every 3 months, every 6 months. My doctor had me seeing them every week. It was things that were different for me that other people may not have experienced. And I was like, okay. And then I just meet all these different people, and they would tell me stuff, and I'm like, okay, that may happen to you, but it's not going to happen to me, you know, type thing. And the next thing you know, here I am with it. Or I'm like, this medicine has side effects. I don't usually take medicine, so I shouldn't have a problem with side effects. You know, those kind of things are running in the back of your mind. It's a whirlwind of emotions, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, I had created a new identity to myself. I would hear voices in my head, and I'm like, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Medication I'm taking. I'm hallucinating. You know, those are the things that I was robbed of, I felt, because all of the stuff I never experienced before is now happening to me. Where did it come from? How did it come about? And my first thing was...
I want you to continue, but let me just stop right there because you're making the exact points where I want to take this. And you used a word that I wanted to use. And you said stolen. It's been stolen from you. And it's true because our health has been stolen. That's the bottom line. That's what it boils down to. And I want you to continue to hold that thought, but I want to also interject because what you're saying is extremely important because this is why I believe, and I'm talking to each and every one of you guys listening, including everybody on the replay. Welcome, by the way. We're getting more and more people listening to our replay every week. This is why I believe, one reason I believe why Heart Talk is so important is because we peel back the veneer, the superficial veneer, a lot of what you are talking about right now. People want to pacify. Here, you take this, you take that, you know, and that's great. And you know what? There are lots of people who really need that, who may not consider them handouts. And I know right where you're going with that, and I agree with you 100%. But, you know, that's the way our society has morphed into. Therefore, I believe it is so critical that we have these Heart Talk calls because this gets down to the nitty-gritty, doesn't it? This really does. It peels back all this veneer.
Yes, it does.
Please go ahead.
It really
Please
does.
Continue because you're on a roll.
The one thing that my journey with MS, and guys, I want y'all to know that I'm a type of person where I've always been as positive as much as I could. I always look at, you know, I want life should be that beautiful house with the picket white fence and everything should be so perfect. That's the type of world that I live in. You know, like the cartoon characters and things like that. They're always happy and things. That's who I am. But that was taken away. I became bitter. I became mean. I became angry. And everybody stepped in my path. If you just said the wrong word, I don't even know what would be like a trigger. You know, it might be something as simple as, oh, my God, I love your outfit, but your hair is not looking all that great today. And I would literally just go off on you like you had just, you know, hit me and I'm fighting back with you. And then I'd have to come back to you later on and apologize. And we never knew what it was. Well, I was taking a mood medication that they had put me on to alter my moods. So if I didn't take the medication, I couldn't be who I needed to be, myself. But if I took the medication, I could be myself. And everybody loved me again. But the people, I scare so many people. I am 104 pounds, guys. I'm 44 years old, and people are literally terrified of me. They will not step in my path when I'm on that rage mode because they said, you intimidate us. We're afraid that we might, you know, we have to walk on eggshells around you just so we won't upset you because we don't know who we're going to meet, Jekyll or Hyde. And I'm like, guys, you can blow on me and I fall over. So why are you so afraid of me? But it was my mouth, the words that came out of my mouth, the things that were so harsh and mean, it's like it cut people with a knife. And that's the person I became because of dealing with the facts and the residuals of having to be on medications, having to deal with this disease, knowing that I've been told that it's a lifetime thing, there's no cure for it, and then I go do research, and I'm like, what do you mean you have diseases out in this world that doesn't have a cure for it? And I'm like, if you go over to a foreign country, I bet it's in a plant. You know, those are the kind of things I'm saying. You know, I'm telling my doctors, Why don't y'all take a trip over somewhere and find a cure? Why do we have to go through this? It's affecting us. It's taking everything we have. It's stealing our entire life, our personality, and it's taking it and it's turning it around, making us a person we're not. We are two different people. I believe that for a very long time. We are two different people. We identify as ourselves.
Let me interject something else here. This is why what you have just said, encapsulating it, this is why it is so important here on Heart Talk that we talk about body, mind, and spirit, because we need to try and rise above all that. And boy, do I know how hard that is. But when we practice body, mind, and spirit, when we practice some of the things that we talk about here, to keep our spirit, our spiritual element, our spiritual life, our soul elevated as much above that or superior to these things that you're talking about, because what you're talking about is reality, is what Laura was talking about. It's the real world. It's the real deal. It's the real stuff that's going on in everyday life. And we are, losing it through these symptoms of this dreaded monster disease called MS that, you're right, there is no cure for. But my goodness, how people will allow it to change themselves. And when I say allow, I mean that. I am choosing that word very carefully, because I believe we all have the same choice when we snap our eyes open in the morning. We can get up with a smile on our face or a frown. We could have happy thoughts or not so happy thoughts. It's a choice we all can make. And along with that choice, we can choose, I believe, to strive to rise above this stuff. I know we can't eliminate it. I know that. We cannot eliminate the symptoms. We cannot eliminate necessarily the bad stuff. Maybe we can put the brakes on a little bit. Maybe there is a medication to make it a little bit softer, to deal with, a little easier perhaps, but we can't eliminate it. But we can deal with it in such a way that the spiritual aspect of our nature, of our life here on earth, can rise above that. So therefore, body, mind, and spirit. I want to get into that deeper a little bit later. I want to hear your thoughts on that, Toretta. Anybody else?
That's true, because like I was saying, that's how I generated taking 42 pills a day, because of all the different aspects of life that I had to face. I had to face who I was. Didn't want to be that person. That's not who I was. How could this happen to me? The thoughts are racing through your head. You don't know what to do. And then when your doctors are telling you, well, you have to take this, and I'm saying it doesn't work, and then they're saying, okay, then we're going to take you off this and put you on that, and then you got side effects happening. It all comes into a whirlwind where it sets you off into a depression state. My doctor wanted to put me in the hospital for a manic depression, and I told her no. And she said, why not? I said, I have children, and my kids are my world, guys. They are my world. Everything I do in life are based off my children, honestly. And everybody's like, why do you, do this or do that? I said, because if it has an effect on my children, then I have to make that decision as to if it's going to be good or bad. So what happened was, the reason I ended up taking all this medication is because my mother would ask, when the doctor came to me and said, this is your diagnosis, we got medications, I said no. And I told her, what I actually told this lady was, I said, Montel Williams has it. He smokes marijuana. Can you give me marijuana and maybe that'll help? And she said, we can't do that because it's not legalized in the state of Texas. And I said, I'm not taking that medicine. You're not going to put that toxin in my body thinking that that's going to help me, because it's not. It's going to make things worse, because I've always been a believer that medication does not do what it says it's going to do. It does other things and causes other problems. Well, that did happen. Exactly as I said, it happened. So at that point in time, the only reason I went to the medication, and I would tell my doctors, because of my boys. And my doctor told me one day when I went to her, she said, go sit in that wheelchair, Miss Downs, because that's where you're going to be in the next few years if you don't take this medication. This is not going to cure you. It's just going to help slow down the progressive part of your disease because it's very aggressive. They thought I was moving into the next stage. They pushed me with all this medication and all these therapies, everything. And I refused to accept it. And I was like, I'm going to still be me. I'm not going to change. It's not going to change who I am. But in reality, I was changing. I was being robbed of the things that I was used to doing because of this disease. And it was like almost like a torture. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what do you do? You know, when this happens, you know, did I do something bad in life to where I deserve this? You put this on me. What's going on? You know, and that's how I lived for a very long time. Got into counseling for 3 years, and I had to switch counselors and things like that because of insurance purpose. One counselor, she took me on pro bono. I was so bad, and she wanted to see me 3 times out the week. That was a 41-mile trip there and a 41-mile trip back. I didn't have gas money. I didn't have a job.
What did counseling do for you? Okay, we know that you were at a very critical juncture in life, obviously. What turned you around? Was it counseling? What did they say? What did they point out to you? Did they use logic and reason in terms of real-life living? I'm curious. What turned you back around again? We know everything that brought you to this point. Tell us what turned you back around. How did that happen?
What actually turned me around is because the fact that when I was going to counseling, I told the lady that my life, like for me, myself, if I didn't have kids, I could care less what happened to me. Whatever happened, just let, the fate happen. And she said, are you living for yourself or are you living for your children? I said, well, my life is over. I said, my children is who I'm living for. And so we focus more on the aspects of me doing the things that I need to do to keep me around for my children, to help me not, hopefully with the medication, because she said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is guaranteed because it's not. It's just to help slow the progression down. She said, not everybody is a success story. And she said, and I'm not going to sit here and say that they are. She said, but we're going to put the focus on your children because that's what you actually are telling me today is that everything you do surrounds your children. So in order for you to be here and do those things you enjoy with your children, we need you to follow these steps. It's going to take baby steps to get there, but I promise you, in the end, you're going to say, I'm glad I chose this way, And so basically they guided me with how I took my medication. They helped me, with aspects of doing things such as to help me with my memory issues by writing stuff down because I never wrote anything down because it was all in my head. I didn't forget a single thing. Give me your Social Security today. Ask me 10 years. I'll spit it out like I'm looking at your card type thing. My memory was superb. I didn't forget a single thing, and I remembered everything. I took care of everybody else's responsibilities in business and did all this kind of stuff. So my focus was to make sure that I followed what they were saying. I said, I'm going to give it a try. Is what I said. At first in the beginning, I was like, nope, it's not going to work. I was against it. I was being negative. And when something went wrong, I said, see, they don't know what they're talking about. This is not helping me. And I'd fall, I'd go to the doctor. Something else is presenting itself. And I'm sitting here praying and things like that. And other people are praying for me. And the medication didn't seem like it was really working. In my opinion, it didn't seem like it was working. And so I would go to my counselor and I'd talk to her about things such as that, and she'd give me some homework and things and have me to do all this different kind of stuff. And she would ask me how my day was, and I had to write down in a journal of how I took my medication. I had to go to all my doctor's appointments. It was just a whirlwind of everything, but it surrounded around my children, and that was her direct focus was we're going to focus you on getting your healing through what you value the most in life and why you feel like you should live your life and do the things that we are asking you to do to get you to the point that we are saying you're going to be at. And when I hit that wheelchair in 14, it was reality. This is where I'm at. There's nothing I can do about it. So at least I'm still here with my kids, but I'm in a wheelchair. And when my son came to me and said, Mom, is this how you're going to be for the rest of your life? I looked at him and I said, I don't know, son. And that gave me the motivation to get up and push, do the exercises and everything they had me doing in physical therapy, to push harder because of those boys, because I did not want my boys to see me like that and want them to have to wait on me and take care of me, because I was blessed to have them, and God blessed me to take care of them. And so reality slapped me in the face, and that's where I pushed toward through my therapy, is focusing on my boys. And that's what brought me through, and that's how I completed my therapy, is through my kids, knowing that my kids needed me and I couldn't just give up or give in. And that's basically what they said I was doing, is just pretty much saying forget it, because I didn't want to do anything they asked me to do.
It sounds as if, to me, what you're saying in a nutshell is that this therapist really knew what she was talking about, because she focused on the problem, the issue, which of course is MS, and was taking over. It had taken over. But she was focusing on the meaning of life for you. And I'm sure everybody has a different meaning of life, what means the most. I mean, she went right to the heart of the matter, no pun intended. She went to the core. And I would love to hear from you guys. And I want to still hear more from you too, right? But I would love to hear what do you live for? Because I think it comes down to that. I really do. I think that you stepped on the answer. And I want to know your opinion to other people out there. I said in the beginning of the program here, we're getting a lot more people listening on the replay. People, in fact, just yesterday I got an email from a lady. I'm not sure what country she's in, but she kind of wrote in an accent, broken English type thing, and she was in bad straits, shall we say, and she needed a word of encouragement, and she got it. But I said that to say that there are people on all parts of the world that are listening to this, and everybody's lives are different. Everybody's circumstance, of course, is different. And even though we're all the same, we're different. And even though MS is the same, it still hits us differently, each and every one of us. What would you say to people who've hit bottom? And there's a lot of them. What would you say to these people?
Well, this is Sherry. Can you hear me?
Ahead, Sherry. Go ahead.
Okay. And I've said it before, MS hit me in February of 1999 like a ton of bricks. And to be honest, I cried my eyes out for about 3 weeks. And then it kind of hit me. It hit me. Like that poem that we say every Tuesday. Now I got to look at it. But anyway, I wanted to say it hit me like a ton of bricks. And then I remembered Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength.
Amen.
And so anyway, that one that we say every Tuesday, Lord, keep reminding me that I can. Oh shoot! Now I missed it.
I've got it. Let me say it so people who haven't heard it before can hear it. And then of course we'll say it again later. But Lord, help me to remember that nothing is going to happen to me today that you and I can't handle.
There you go. It's on my wall, and I just couldn't see it with my eyes going blurry.
Sure.
But anyway, I said that, and then I thought, at first I was thinking, Lord, why me? Why me? And then I thought, why not me? Look at all of these diseases that affect other people and babies and kids. Why not me? I can handle my share. Just give me my share, and we will get through this together, God.
Sherry, I want to make a quick point here, if I may, because you guys are really hitting this issue. You're hitting the nail on the head because, we're almost, Let me rewind. I'm getting tongue-tied here. Imagine that. I believe that, life is in a way, like a school. Yes, I'm oversimplifying it, I know, but you get my drift. Life is a series of lessons learned. And what you've just said and what Toretta has just said that led her to that same point that you're both on right now is really amazing. The reasoning you both have, and I know that everybody, I'm sure, on this listening to this is feeling the same way. And the reason I bring this up is that you guys have had the opportunity to live through that. Now, what do I say to another one of the famous Heart Talk sayings is anything can happen to anybody at any time, right? And springboarding from what we're talking about here, you have the opportunity to learn. You have the opportunity to hone these spiritual skills that we need to get through this life and learn some of these lessons that are put smack dab in front of our noses. And I say that because sometimes it's just cut so short. Anybody who has a television or in a radio or an internet screen knows what happened down here in the South, 48 hours ago? And believe me, it skimmed. We got part of it. We were under the tornado deal, too. And just to the north of us, maybe 15, 20 miles, there was one heck of a bleep, bleep, bleep tornado that touched down. And then further north, over 23 people got their lives killed that we know about. Dozens more are missing somewhere between Alabama and Georgia and North Florida, by the way, which is where this is being broadcast from. I say that to say we never know. Yeah, you never know. I don't know. Is some space rock going to come down and hit me on the head when I go out to get the mail this afternoon? I don't know. And the idea is that anything can happen to anybody at any time, and therefore these lessons that we are being given, we don't like them, but we're being given. Are they tests? I don't know. I'm not that smart. Maybe you are, and you can explain it to me. But I know there they are, right under our noses, right at our feet, and it is an opportunity. It is a spiritual opportunity to grow in this life because we don't know from 1 minute to the next. Go ahead. Somebody take it.
I was just told that just last week I asked for prayer, and I said, I'm at a point where I'm at a crossroad where I don't know, should I continue to take my medication? I'm being told I got this disease for the rest of my life. I got to take medication for the rest of my life, but I'm at a point where I don't want to have to do that. I'm trying to figure out what I need to do, my direction, and so forth or another. And as Dr. Rudy Cartwright says, there is nothing that we'll ever experience in life that's not going to be difficult. We're going to always experience difficulty so we can get through it. We got to be able to face it and be able to accomplish, the set out goal that we intended to set out. Like, we have people on the line today, and we take the supplements and everything, and the supplements have done something in our lives, and we really can't explain it, but it has done things to a lot of us that had made improvements to us from where we first started before we ever knew about it. So those are the things that are happening, and it's, it took us to, I don't know how it came about, but somehow or another we were guided in a direction, and that's how we found you guys. It's a blessing and a thank you for it. But we were guided to find you for a reason. And when we found you, look at what we have now. Look at us. We're growing. We're growing. We're getting larger. This call started off with so many people. Some people may not be here anymore. Somebody else came in and joined in with this. I have another lady that I'm trying to get involved with us as well, who has it, as well as her brother. So hopefully she'll be able, I'm going to invite her to the line and let her listen in and see if, this is something that would help her. Because there's people out there that don't have anybody, or they don't want to put a bearing on anybody, and they need us because we are the group of people that go through the same thing they go through, and we can help them even if it's just on a little encouragement, words, talking to them, listening to them, or they're listening to us. It's an encouraging moment to be on this call. It's a blessing to have this call. This line was not developed by mistake. It was a reason. And we didn't meet you by mistake. We had never seen you a day in our life in person, but we love you. It's like we know you, like you're our backyard neighbor or something. We don't, that's how it is. And we're people with all different lives all across the world. And we come together, and what do we all have in common? We all share multiple sclerosis diagnosis. And for those that have it, we've had a hard time with it in the beginning, but as you go through, it gets easier because it comes, almost to me, it comes like second nature. I've been had it, so if they came up with a cure for it now, I don't even know if I'd want to take it or not. I think I would be fine the way I am because I've been living like this for so long that this is the new normal for me. This is who I have come to be and deal with what I have to deal with, such as like having a common cold. That's how I look at MS, as a common cold. And then that common cold runs its course, and it has to get to the coughing harder and things, your nose running and so forth or another. You have to take your cough medicine, and it may not work, whatever. Yes, it becomes a way of life.
And then back to what we were talking about, and I really want to hone in on this, and I need your help doing it. It is what Laura is talking about. Obviously she said 60-plus years, on this earth, so she's at least 60-something probably. So, she's had time to really think and mellow out, I guess, or mellow this out. But it is, oh, heavens, I had such a great point. Oh, brain fog, Where am I?
That's okay. You're used to it. It's okay.
I know.
We all understand. We all do.
I know. It's the identity. She talks about the identity crisis. And the point I'm trying to make, it did come back, thank you very much, is that through the changes, well, starting with Laura, that's how we started this, and what you're saying, what Sherry's saying, what I'm saying, what everybody's thinking, is that these physical, and they are, the physical changes that we attribute to MS, that we attribute to our new way of life. That's what we've been talking about, right? A new way of life, because it alters everything. And if it alters everything that we do, then it must alter in some way our personal identity. So I said that to say, within our inner vision, if we look there, we must never allow it to touch our spiritual selves, because that's who we are. That is the core of who and what we are. And you touched on it beautifully, Toretta, when you said in the beginning, back in the early days of this thing, that it did change you. It changed your behavior. It changed your attitude. I know, medication or this, that, or the other thing, the mood alter, whatever. But it manifested Toretta into a different person that people were scared of. So you, somehow or other, through your own strength, by the way, but with the help of your counselor, was able to work your way back to the real Toretta, and let the real Toretta that we know and love grow into the beautiful girl that she is today, and sharing your wisdom and your experience with us. Do you see my point with this identity crisis thing? We all experience it to one degree or another, some of us more, some of us less. But you cannot help but go through it, because when we experience these physical changes in the physical aspect of our lives, it becomes fluid. The changes become fluid, and they blend in to our moods. They blend in not just to our surroundings and activities, but they blend in to our personality. But the thing we must do, the thing we must protect at all costs, is our spiritual nature. Does this make sense to you?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And we're all going to go through test trials and tribulations. Yep. You may not go through everything I go through exactly, and I may not go through everything that you go through exactly, but we're all going to go through test trials and tribulations. It's just we have to just beat what we can, We just pray about it. Trust God in it. That's all we can do. and God is the Most Higher. I mean, He's got more intelligence, surely, way more than any of us ever have. So we just got to trust God in it. You got to, like I said, I mean, I've heard my cousin, he's a pastor, and he said, when I was a little girl, he said, how can you be sick and healed at the same time? And that's impossible. I mean, if you trust God and you believe in Him, you're standing on His word, you ain't, like I told you, I'll never say that's mine. That ain't mine. I'm not going to claim that junk. Oh, no, I mean, it's up to you all, of course. I'm not trying to say that you're right or you're wrong. What I am saying about myself personally, I would never, ever say it belongs to me because it don't, because I trust God. I believe God in it. People might say, you crazy, psycho. Well, call it like you like. I'm calling what God said. Whose report will you believe? I believe the report of the Lord. And I know, with my tooth and all, I've been really, really quiet. But I just felt like this was time for me to say something about me personally. And I'll never say it's mine because it ain't. I can't be sick and healed at the same time. It's impossible. And I will never, ever claim it, ever. Because I believe report of the Lord. And I'm standing on His promises, and I believe He'll do just what He said. And maybe not right now. Maybe I am dealing with things right now, and I have been. I'm not saying I haven't been, but I'm trusting God. And before it's all done, I'm going to come out smelling like pure gold. Oh, yeah, that's how I believe God. And as I
Amen.
God, I know you all know how I think. I'm pretty sure, even though you never met me personally, but you know how I think. That's just how it is. And so I trust God. I've been saved, sanctified, and Holy Ghost filled for over 32 years. So I'm trusting God in this.
Well, that's a beautiful thing, Marion. And by doing that, that is your way, which is a beautiful way of protecting your spirit, protecting your spiritual nature here on earth. Because remember, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience here in our human bodies, right? The body, the body has a beginning and an end. The spirit, and we're told, is eternal. So there you go. So, we've been given this body, and like I've said over and over again, we all come into this world the exact same way. The system is the same, whoever you are, wherever you are. We all get here the exact same route. And, we can take that wherever we want to go with it, meaning, what is all the fuss about? Well, you're from here, but I'm from there, so I'm better, and, my skin's lighter than yours, and blah, 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 and on it goes. That's just ad nauseum. But the bottom line is we've all gotten here the exact same way. And
that's right.
When we pop into this world and take our first breath, we are all on equal footing. And we go through this thing called a lifetime, and then the lifetime is over, it's time to go. So we go. And we all exit pretty much the same way. There's different methods, of course, but we will eventually take our final breath. And so,
that's right.
But that spirit will be ever present, won't it? Won't it?
Yes. The one thing I can say is that God gives His strongest soldiers their toughest battles, because He knows that He's got His group of children that can handle a lot of things that other people may not be able to handle.
That's so true.
We are that chosen group of people, because look at us. There is not a single person on this phone that could tell me I can't handle me having to deal with what I go through, because, yes, you can. You're on the phone call. You're living your day-to-day life. It may not be the way you want to live it, but you are living it. And the one thing that I can see is that the one thing about me was I feel like if I never would have got that diagnosis, I could be somewhere where I could have had my life taken. I could have met the wrong person or what have you, because my lifestyle that I wanted to be in, it was like every opportunity I had, something would happen to where that opportunity wouldn't fall through. I always wanted to be in modeling. I always wanted to be on TV as an actress, things like that. But that's not the life that God set up for me. But I still wanted to do it. I never ever thought about what God was looking at me doing. It felt more like I was trying to do what I wanted to do myself. But there were like blocks, blocks that were blocking me from, going out to California, New York, and, be on TV and things like that. It was things that were happening. Right. And the last thing that I was getting involved in, I got involved with a Christian play, and at that point in time, my son had to have surgery. And after he had surgery, they didn't give him any medication to take home or anything, but that he had it on Friday. On Saturday, he's screaming like crazy, and I woke up, and next thing you know, I had already been going through these things, but didn't know. I thought it was my schooling. And I jumped up, and I ran in there, and he's in a wheelchair, and he's screaming, crying, and I'm like, what is wrong? What is wrong, baby? What's wrong? And he told me he was in a lot of pain because he had reconstructive surgery. And I'm sitting here, and I told Marion the story the other night. I said, God, whatever the pain that you have on my son, take it off of him and put it on his mother, me. And next thing you know, all this stuff started happening. I fell. I actually blew out of my truck, and I ended up cracking my toe in the end. I found out I cracked my toe. I had to wear a boot for a while and wasn't doing what the doctor said because I didn't like the boot, so I'd not wear it. Just all these kind of things happened, and then, bam, in January, the first half, it was freezing cold in 2011. And I'm like, my whole left side started going numb. It's tingling. I didn't know what was going on. And I'm like, this school is just driving me up the wall. I can't do this. I'm going to quit. And I slept with a heating pad, and it seemed like it went away finally. The next half of January, it was my right side, except for my right side, a heating pad wasn't stopping that. I was going to work, and I'm, moving. I'm a fast-paced walker and things like that. People know I'm on the go. I'm moving, I'm doing all this stuff really quick, and I'm slowing down, but I don't notice it. Everybody around me see a change in me, but I don't see it. And they're like, "Are you okay?" And my friends are like, "Were you?"
We have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. That's it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, to cut it short. But anyway, that's what led me to my diagnosis, and I feel like that was, well, people may not look at it like that, but I think that was my blessing to be stopped in my tracks so I wouldn't go down the wrong path or wrong road, because we don't know what was on the other end of that, the other side of that door. So the MS kept me where I'm at today to be where I'm at now. And that's why I say I thank God for blessing me, because I don't know where my path would have took me if I would have went down that road. So to me, I'm thankful for it after all the therapies and all that kind of stuff, and then having my children. I'm thankful things were there and put in place for me so that I wouldn't go in the wrong path or wrong direction.
That's right. Very, very well put. And the bottom line to what you're saying and what this whole discussion has been about, which has been a beautiful, beautiful conversation, is that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience right here on planet Earth. We're going to have to leave it there, guys. And
I didn't realize it was that late. Sorry.
All right. Does anybody else have, before we go into the prayer portion, does anybody else have a comment or something that they would like to make on this topic before we move into the prayer portion? Anybody else have a thought or comment on this topic? Okay. Guess not. Well, Toretta, very well put, and Marion and Sherry and everybody else listening. Very enlightening. Very, very enlightening. And, oh, my gosh. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to move into the prayer portion of the call. And I don't know about you, but I can't believe that an hour is up. It just flies by every week, and especially when we get into these deep, deep conversations, because it really is a beautiful thing. And you're all right when you say, you're all correct when you say that it gives us the strength. It gives us the inspiration and the motivation, because in the world we're living in today, well, I tell you what, guys, that line of tornadoes, had it dropped, another few miles down, southward, well, maybe I would be here, maybe I wouldn't be here. Let me put it that way.
It'd be in your backyard.
Yep, we were
Praise
right
God
under.
that wasn't the plan.
It was
and
not.
That's what I was. Yes, and that's what I was wanting to also bring up on the prayer list. Can we put, those states that were affected, as well as Luke Perry's family, in prayer, because we lost a great actor.
I know. All right, Luke Perry. Let's put him down first. Luke Perry. Yeah, I saw that. What a shame. Luke Perry family.
I loved him as Dylan on 90210, and I'm so excited they're going to bring back the series with them as adults now.
Okay.
It's like,
wow.
Were
the other people that you wanted to put on? The victims, the tornado victims?
Yes, the victims, families that had to go through, because that, oh my gosh.
I know.
Because I have a few friends down in that area, but I think they're okay because I haven't, I didn't see anything that showed that they weren't. They were on Facebook and everything, because I went on Facebook just to check.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was devastating, and I hope I hate to put it this way, but how else do you say it? I hope they find the missing people,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would bring closure at least,
Yeah,
but not knowing is what's hard.
It is, and not knowing where they are or what really happened.
Yes.
And there's people, right up in Alabama, which is just to the due north of us. So, yes, thank you, Toretta. Let's do that. All right, let's move into the prayer portion of our call right now. And for those of you who are new to our Heart Talk call and listening perhaps on maybe live, maybe you're listening in the background here, or maybe you're listening on the replay link, which I'm going to send you real soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that email, all right? But we want to, first of all, welcome you, but also to let you know that this is a very, very special call. I think you know that already. Whether this is your first time or whether you've hung out with us before on different occasions, I think you've figured out that this is a very, very special call for all the reasons that we've been talking about today. And we're very glad that you're here. But also to let you know that there is another portion of our Heart Talk call that we close with every week. And we call that the prayer portion of our call. And for those of you unfamiliar, what that amounts to is basically we move into the prayer portion of our call where we pray, we read a prayer, and then we read all the names on the prayer list. And you've just heard Toretta. We've added some new names on the prayer list. And these names are read aloud every single week. And they are prayed for as a group every single day. So I want you to know that. And we do this, why? Because I believe that you've also heard on this call today. Heart Talk, the creation of Heart Talk, all of us coming together on Heart Talk, is no accident. This did not happen by accident. Believe me, it didn't. I believe that God put this together. I really do. And so what we do every week after our discussion is we say thank you to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for bringing us together, for allowing this to happen. Because without this divine intervention, guys, I don't think this call would be here. So we want to pray that we are able to keep it going too, which we are, and that you'll come back again next Tuesday morning and join us in another beautiful conversation on Heart Talk. So let me take a sip of my orange juice, please, and we are going to move directly into the prayer portion.
Okay, and you all just add my name on, Marion, please. I have had 2 pulls today, and it's my wisdom, too, so.
Now, Marion, I'm sorry, when do I put your name too?
Yeah, just so I get this tooth taken out today. It's my wisdom tooth, so, yeah.
Whoops. All right, you are now on the prayer list.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Keep us posted, please. All right, let us begin. We will now enter the prayer portion of our call. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your divine intervention into the lives of so many that need your help. We ask that you answer our fervent prayers to help those who are in need and afflicted with multiple sclerosis and other ailments and diseases that are interfering with their lives and in many cases crippling their lives. As we read these names aloud now, Father, we ask that the Holy Spirit will move through these lines of communication that are connecting us all around the world, and that the Holy Spirit will carry our voices together with our prayers into the heavens, and that you will hear our prayers and grant comfort to those who ask for your divine intervention in their lives, for them and for their families, to grant them healing, to restore them to good health, and that you will cover them with your blessings and divine presence and protection. And we thank you, Father, for hearing our prayers. In Jesus' name, amen. And I will now read the names on the prayer list. Donnell, Linda, Sandra, Erica, Shamang, Dyke, Carlos in Canada, Janet Carroll and family, Tish and Luke Roskams in the UK, Mary Ferris, Jeremy Mann, Julie Perkins, Rashawn Jefferson, Damon Jones, Scotty Williams, Barbara Cleary in the UK, Linda Hawley, Sylvia, Greg Evenson and family, Arthur Marcellus, Veronica Lewis, Tanya Thompson, Kathy Pedrick, Mark, Francine Mankari, Tamala Lewis and family, Michelle, Joe in the UK, Carol in Iowa, Edie in Missouri, Alberta in Kansas, Will and Konachek, Sandra Moen, Susan, Russ Dizdar and family, Donna and Nathan Leal, Kathleen in Boston, Frankie and Melissa and Destiny in Boston, Tracy Whiting, Clint and Cliff in Kansas, Phyllis in Kansas, Jennifer in the UK, Linda Jean, Sherry Gudgeon, Sabrina Sutton, Tracy Thacker, Melanie Monteith, Edie Neal, Sybil Winham, Manfred Pauli in Venezuela, Donna and son Andrew, Mubin in Cape Town, South Africa, Rona, Noor, Rami, Ferris, Muhammad, Jill Hahn, Travis and Ellen Thacker, John, Tommy, Dennis Walker, Faye, Maria in South Africa, Jennifer, Charlotte Matrisic, Maria in Nevada, Louise in Alabama, Patty in Alabama, Sybil Wyndham, Gloria, Contessa, Mrs. Disney, Ladios, Dr. Paul Hegstrom, Lorraine, Irene, Lydia, Mike Newcomb, Beverly Raza, Jason, Charlene Kelly, Danielle and Faniel in Toronto, Frankie, Robert, Stacy, Judy, Sarah, Ron and Marge, Constance Wadlington, Toretta, Glenda, Larry Nichols, Melanie, Floyd, Amy and Eric Olson, Trudy, Gladys, Gerald Taylor, Diane, Gregory, Irma, Travis John, Ertis, DeMarcus, Anne, Richard, Helen, Pearl, Irma, Grace, Rebecca, Linda and Joe in the UK, Dan and Jason Junker, Dion, Joshua and Johnny, Kalila, Ara Lee, the Marsh family, Julie Mullins, the Grant Anderson family, Chad Cowan, Randy Guerra, Barry Walcott, Tina and CJ, Ray, Mackenzie, Deborah, Sally, Joe and family, Gina, Mary in Alaska, Veronica Thomas, Karen in Seattle, Michael Freeman, Megan, Trudy, Jeremiah Mask, Gwanadi in Russia, Jeff Olson, Kelly, Jennifer in Kansas, Geneva Norris, Latasha Coleman, Seth Thomas, the Jim Thomas family, Tanisha Washington, Cindy, Guillermo, Eula Cooper, Robert Alexander, Leo Torres, Chris Elias, Jeff London and family, Jared and John Chambers and family, Eddie Tiny, Leslie Cavazos, Ryan Cadillo, Aaron Marsh, Jimmy in the UK, Valerie and Hillary Perry, Blanche Collins, Flick Mays, Michael Kuhlman, the Pope family, the Baldonado family, Mary Jo in Fargo, Danielle Duran, Dr. Marty Sanders, the Hargrave crew, Lena Davis family, Sharon in London, Billy Medlock, Lola Striggles, Rondella Canida, Dave McCartney and family, Shay Standifer and family, Billy Coleman, Rita Nixon, James Grace, Alton Johnson, the Johnson family, Tracy and Alice Daniels, the Elias family, Arlen, Kathy and Al Matthews, Deborah Yars DiLorenzo, Chadrick Watson, Kevin Giles, Eric, the Collins family, the Johnson family, Trevia Powell Clark and family, Ray LaBelle, Tony Delsey, Edward McFarland, Seth, Malaya Marnie Horton Fisher, Abe Martinez, Roscoe, Hattie Battle, Alberta and Chuck, Isabel, Enoch Bryant, Sister Wanda Burke, Anthony Canida, Trinity Johnson, Curtis Warren, Susan Trotter, Rhonda Pryor, Wanda Burke, James Washington, Enoch Bryant family, Aretha McKinney, Lee Pittman, Blessed Hartabin, Andre Giles, Penny, Bonnie, Loretta, Ray Charles, Wayne Jones Jr., Khadijah Cooper, Becky and family, Ashia and Kanisha Morrison, Jeff Olson family, Sybil Morrison family, Trelina Hope, the Gafford family, Emily Aguilar and family, Shaladra Kelly, Ann Downs, Erin Gudgeon, Latosha Coleman, Jackie Clark, Don Orth, Jason Kirkaby, Denise Doobie, Miss Stapleton, the Mooney family. And Father, these are the names of the young children who perished in the apartment fire in Chicago not long ago. Adrian Hernandez, age 14. Ariel Garcia, age 5. Xavier Contreras, age 11. Nathan Contreras, age 11. Cesar Contreras, age 14. Maya Alvarez, age 3 months. Lonnie Ayaya, age 3. Gralani Ayaya, age 5. Giovanni Ayaya, age 10. And Victor Mendoza, age 16. Ricky, La Rosa, Paula, Netta, the Flores family, Rose Cummins, Val Hayward, the May family, Zafonso Davis, Michelle, Mac, Taylor, Ray, Allen, Willie Alton, Asila Freeman, Johnny Blair Jr., Alicia, Berguano family, Jacob Stamford, Kashari Warren, Christopher Anders, May Thomas, Carly Parson, Lisa Abbey, Joe Moore Sr., Joshua Judkin, Rachel, Dylan, Wanda, Gordon Biffle, DeMarion Coleman, Mary Cox, Beth, Megan, Zachary, Stephanie Giles, Kevin Giles, Aline Matthews family, the Crawford family, Veronica Enriquez, Dante, Marche, Emerson, Pryor, Leon, Nikki, Roy Collins, Steve Lefevre, the Moody family, the Sanders family, Hezekiah, Mette Lisa, Egan Hagen, Jamie Kloss family, Shaney, Susie Walker, Jackie McDonald, Letitia, Joan Ruthie, Shawnee, Mary Marie, Michael, Letitia, Elizabeth,
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I just heard somebody go out. I didn't know if everybody had hung up.
Somehow or another, she's not on the line. I don't know if...
Yeah, her line must have went out. Maybe the weather or something.
I think we lost her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you all be blessed. I got things I got to do with get ready to get my tooth pulled. So thank you all for the prayer, and enjoy talking to you all.
You're welcome. We enjoy you, love.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay, you all be blessed.
Goodbye.
You
and God
as
bless.
well.
Okay.
God bless all of y'all. Love y'all.
Love you all too. God bless you all. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.